session because we're going to keep doing the discussion about data, specifically about product data, and a word that we've been talking a lot about in our conversations at Scandinavian MIND, namely precision. How can we be more precise in the types of product that we put out to the market? How can we use data to aim for that precision so we can both be more profitable, but also tackle some of the overproduction issues that we have in this industry? So to continue this conversation, I welcome Stefan Palm, CEO of Lager 157, and Daniel Di Benedetto, Regional Director, Euro North for Centric Software. Round of applause. Please. Welcome, guys. Stefan, I think I'm going to start with you. We always like to start with the brand. We want to talk about what's happening in the industry. You're the man on the pulse. But for people here in the audience, there might be some international guests that haven't visited one of the Lager 157 stores in the Nordics. Describe the company you're running.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for being here. Thanks for listening. So,
I don't think the mic is on. Okay.
You need to have it like here.
Green mic.
Yeah. Good start, huh? Take that, yeah. So we have a business idea that we call Great Basics for All People. And if you would, if you're American, I would say that maybe product-wise, you could, let's say, if you morph maybe Abercrombie and Levi's and make that a little bit more Scandinavian, I think that you get a sense of it. If you look at the cultural aspect, I would say that we are a little bit like a skate brand from the 90s. So pretty down to earth and coming from the countryside. So culture-wise like that. And if you look at it from a business aspect, I would say that we like to think ourselves as a fashion version of Toyota. So lean production machine. So that I would say is an introduction.
A lot of good references in there.
You Wonderful. Take your chances.
Well, let's double click on the precision concept, and I mean maybe also talk a little bit how you have because you've grown quite a lot, and our Swedish friends here have followed your journey. Can you talk about how you are thinking about this precision? Because I know you think a lot about what to bring to the market, and in the best possible and scalable way.
Yeah. So if you think about our business idea, Great Basics for All People, have that in mind, and then we have also a supply chain model. Supply chain model that requires us to have a lot of precision. And that is actually a model that we call 600-600. So 600 articles, 60% of them are carryovers, and we are aiming for 0% waste. So if you look at how far these opposites are, Great Basics for all people, really all people. So we have all kind of customers, a lot of Gen Z, but all the way up to, let's say, 80 plus. And have that everything to be covered by 600 articles. Then you can imagine if you compare with our peers, how much precision we need to have in all aspects. So all the way from the design process, we really need to take, let's say, we don't waste one article extra. So yeah, so that is, let's say, a little bit on the take of it.
Yeah, and you have you're talking about doing fewer things better. So that is like the culture in everything you do. Can you talk about the other spots, the other places in the business that you are utilizing this precision?
Yeah, the business model is focusing on one thing only, and that is being best at basics, being best at these 600 articles. So we do nothing else. And with that, we have sort of created a framework that, let's say, let us have the possibility to come back to things on and on again, and all the time focusing on getting a little bit better. We call it 102, so always a little bit better, inspiration from Toyota. So, and so we cover this, we come back all the time, sharpening, and that I think brings some kind of precision, doing that over and over again.
So cool.
And can you talk a little bit about how you use data to measure this? You know, how do you fine tune this using data?
I think Doug said it perfectly before. So focusing on what drives your business, that is the only thing that you need to have in mind. I think that always focus on drives value for the business and for the customer, and doing the easy stuff, always keeping it basic, and focusing on the standards, I would say.
Yeah, we should bring in the technologists here. Daniel Di Benedetto from Centric Software. Maybe just a short introduction for people who don't know what Centric Software is, if there are people who don't know. Give me the headline.
Quite a few customers in the room as well. Thank you. And thank you.
Thank you.
New customer.
So I would say we are the product data. So everything from setting the plan and the strategy for a product to buying that right for the fashion industry. Of course, with some replenishment and planning things at the end, but we don't do the article, we don't do the logistics, we do not do the e-commerce, but we deliver all that valuable product data to all these downstream systems. And so it can be published and used by the consumers in a way. So also from a sustainability perspective, of course, it's based on the bill of materials of the products and how we can then push data to digital product passports or the ESG reporting or whatever. Yeah.
Great. So Daniel, if precision is the goal instead of the old way, how do you help?
I think at the end of the day, all this business is about, and like you said, business value, and Doug said as well. So it's hit rates in the end. So if you end up with having, I don't know, 20-30% overstock, you have made a wrong mistake. So that's not the replenishment issue. It's not the localization issue, etc. It's a bad assortment plan decision. So if you're not controlling what you sold, what is selling, what the market wants, you will end up in deciding for designs and products that are not making it to the market. So the precision then sits in you killing your design darlings, because this whole fashion, I've been in this industry for 25 years on the technology side, and it's always the same. It's the product that makes the company in a way. Yeah, it's the product that makes the company, the identity, but it doesn't give you the hit rate normally, unless you know what values stands behind. Numeric values drives the sell of a product. And if you if you have bought your volumes and they are not selling, then, well, you will not get profit. So you need to be much, much smarter in how you decide for your collection pieces to be sold on the market.
So
that's precision.
Sorry. So if you look at your customers you have, or the market, where are the biggest challenge to get these hit rates that you're talking about? What do you see? Where are the problems?
I think it sits in breaking down these process silos in a way, because we have super intelligent merchandisers, we have super intelligent assortment planners, etc. We have super cool, good designers that knows perfectly what consumers want. We have buyers that understands perfectly what the best cost price of a product should be. But if these things are not connecting, if you don't connect the data in between these ones, you will end up making mistakes in your decisions. Do you want a longer answer? You got all quiet.
No,
so
but
Take your chance, go for it.
I have heard you talking so much about data death and the lacking of data in the different, steps.
So we can spin on that process then, because if I'm a merchandiser and I set the forecast and I know what placeholders needs to be on that assortment plan, and I do not share that data with my designers so they can make conscious design decisions, they will end up designing the product that will not reach that target margin. In between, you create yourself data debt. So if you have too many like best of breed products that do not sit together, that do not connect together, you will leak data in between these processes. And I think it's an organizational challenge as well. When we implement software in the project plans of the customers, you many times see change management at the end of the process. But management owns change management. Management need in the beginning of the process to say, we are giving you these tools so you can connect your data dots in that process. So we stop leaking data in between all these decisions that we have to make along the road to make the right hit rate decision.
Maybe we should bring
Was
in
that the better answer?
That was better. And now I will ask Stefan, because you are a new customer. And so now you have a vision, because you have done this investment of digitalizing all these part of the business and getting hold of that data. So can you put that in words, the vision with this next step?
Maybe I understand you're right, maybe wrong, I don't know. But what I think you cannot enough underline the importance of having a lifetime analysis of the product at the birth of the product. You cannot enough underline that. And doing that and have the right hierarchy in the organization, so the business people being above the design people, that is totally fundamental. And if you do that, you normally drive the right kind of data. And some creative people have maybe a protest on that, but I'm willing to take that argument.
But maybe it's but describe how that works. Like in the design process, you're fine-tuning these 600 garments. You're thinking about the next season. I'm sure you're thinking about trends that are happening out there. You're still bringing in data in the process when you're deciding what to produce for the upcoming seasons. What does that look like? Paint the picture for us.
Yeah, of course, we as everybody else, we don't have any other process than anyone else in the industry. So, of course, we look at all the old data from the last season, and then we mix it, of course, with the cultural data, and that is the forecast part of it, and that is the hard part of it. So we know everything is like this or that in fashion when you go to the trend seminars and all these things. But then Taylor Swift comes out in a red hoodie. And everything changes, and the data is totally new. So you need to combine the data from last season. But on top of that, I think, and this is maybe an open door for everybody in the fashion side of the industry, but also looking into a lot of more historical data. So I look a lot on historical fashion. So how people connect to old type of fashion. And I go all the way back to late 1800s. By the way, my relatives came to it's almost now 210 years to when they came to Battery Park, and we got our name because we got our name in Battery Park. So
Really?
yeah. So but I looked at this picture today, and I think about the fashion of the 1890s. And before each season, I always try to anchor myself in early historical parts, and knowing the fashion history, I think, is so important, because when consumers come back to a new fashion, nothing is new. So some articles are more, let's say, they have a better chance of succeeding. So in the in the forecast process, I want to bring in also a lot of, let's say, cultural and historical data.
We're spanning a lot of references, historical data, 1800s skate culture and Toyota. Doug, when you hear our Nordic colleagues here talk, I just want to get your take on what you're hearing, and does this resonate with what you're seeing in the market right now?
Yeah, it does. I'm sitting here thinking back when I ran a merchant organization, and I think about what would I do with today's tools? Because it was very different 10 years ago than it is today. And when I think about like in the apparel side of the business, being able to, and even I had footwear last, but being able to see through all the data, both historical, instead of just last season, have AI help me look at 20 seasons, those kind of things. And the second thing that I think about is how AI can help expose relationships between items that maybe the merchant or the designer doesn't have time to see. Just for example, AI can go and attribute items it'll put a ton of attributes on them way faster, more accurately than back when I was in merchant world, right? I get 6 attributes. Well, I could do 100. What's interesting is when you let AI bring AI into that, right? So it understands all these products with 100 attributes each. Let's just make that up. It may find that this jumper here is related to something that this person has on because that's a common thing. Maybe it's got lycra woven in, and the merchant just didn't see that connection across men's, women's, and kids. They were only looking at women's, for example. I think there's all sorts of opportunities because you can see that in real time now, right? So I can see this season's data. I'll see what's happening. I say, oh, okay, the trend is happening now. I look back 20 years ago when this trend emerged. It lasted 18 months. I bet you it'll probably last 18 months this year, and I can start to work that on my production side. So I think it's just really intriguing to me to think about, how can I get more information and be much more make it actionable, so that I can, have more hits than misses, right? From a design standpoint, and then don't get me started on sizing. So that's a whole nother discussion. But again, a great place that data can help.
Stefan?
Yeah, I think you bring up a couple of interesting perspectives. So life cycle analysis. So what happens with the future life cycles? Are they the same as last time or shorter? I think that kind of question is pretty interesting. So how do we get that into the analyze? Of course, we can make let's say, the AI analyze of it. So let's say that we have a theoretical way of creating the perfect AI analyze. Will everybody have the same answer then? Will everybody have the same fashion in the store?
Well, and you bring up a really good point. I think the one thing I'm particularly passionate about is when we were talking about the more hits and misses, it came to me, and I'm like, yeah, but I remember when I was in women's, you'd buy the assortment, you knew this stuff was going to sell, but you got to get the pop colors in there. The ones that maybe not everybody's going to like, but boy, it draws people over to the floor to look at your stuff. It may get passed over, but it brought people to the floor. AI doesn't understand that. It doesn't sell through like the rest of the stuff does. It's a very high fashion item that only 1 out of 10 will like. And AI will think by your standards, Doug, that's a bad sell-through. But the designer, the merchant in me knows you got to have that, or you're going to have a very boring store. You got to have something that attracts. It doesn't have to be a pop color, but just something that helps. So not in that example, maybe doesn't apply to all categories, but I think about those things. There always will be a human in the loop, in my opinion.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And I just want to, let's say, as I see it, we will have, let's say, 80% of the analyze coming from different kind of data, product data or AI-driven data. But on top of that, of course, we need to bring in the cultural aspect, the brand perspective of it. What do we stand for? How do we connect on a human level to our customers? So what about that? I think that part is what makes the difference and makes the magic.
But, can I fill in? Because I love this topic. Of course, because I'm in tech, but I think also it's important to understand that AI is here to help you. It's your assistant. It's not the decision maker for you. And I think that if well used across the process in those data debt positions, it will help you to let's say, support your decision. So, and if we can, everybody's talking about time to market. I think that in this industry, time to market is worn out in a way. Yes, we need more time to make better decisions, but we need to speed up that process until we make that purchase or that order. And if we can use AI, then we have a lot of more time to make the decisions. We can put that into design suggestions or creating the bill of materials or retrieving the sustainability data or doing all this stuff that just takes time. And then our brains hopefully can give the passion to the decision.
Can I just give a real practical example
Yeah,
here?
real quickly, because
So,
we have
yeah.
a lot to get to.
So I still keep in touch with my merchant friends in my last job. And one of their frustrations that's been around for 10 years is they have to start buying fall and it hasn't even gotten cold yet. You know, and when you talk about having more times to make decisions, that's a perfect use of it, right? I don't have to make the first cut or the first order until I've got, instead of 1 week in the season, I can wait till 10 weeks in the season. That's a lot of good information that you need to make a good decision.
There's so much more to talk about. We have so much more to get to today. Stefan Palm, Benedetto, and Doug Tiffan. Round of applause.
It's great that they are talking with each other.